everyone, Glenda Mollet here, and I'm in my craft room tonight, and I thought we would create a card together. It uses just stamp, ink, and paper, and maybe a punch or two once we get the card made, just to show you how easy it is to make a basic greeting card. So I'm starting out with a card base that is called, the color's called Bumblebee, and it's half of an 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of cardstock, so it's 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored in the middle at 4.25. Then you fold it over and use a bone folder to make a nice tight crease so that it lays nice and flat. This is a bone folder. It's not really bone. They just call it that. Okay, I just have to get my cord out of the way because it's getting in my way here. So, I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Port Alberni, and my goal in life is to make people happy. I love showing people how to make greeting cards and then encouraging them to send them in the mail. A card is just a hug with a fold in the middle. Okay, so then we're going to use a layer of early espresso that is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. And then we have some lovely designer paper here. It's called plaid tiding. So all of our designer paper is double-sided. So you can use either side. I'm going to use the Bumblebee one that has stripes of pumpkin pie and stripes of early espresso, and that is 4 7/8 by 3 3/4. Then I have a piece of pumpkin pie cardstock that is 4 1/8 or 1 1/8 by 4 7/8. Now, when you orient your card this way, it's called a hot dog card because it's long and skinny. And if you flip it this way, it's called a hamburger card. Just a little fun fact. So we're going to have a hamburger card tonight. I cut this cardstock so that it goes right from one end of the designer paper to the other. And I have some brushed copper foil cut at 1 by 4 7/8, and that's going to lay right on top like that with a nice border on the top and the bottom. And then I have a piece of Whisper White that's 2.5 by 2.5, and we're going to stamp a sentiment and some leaves on it. So the stamp set I'm using is called Beautiful Autumn, and it has maple leaves and nuts and oak leaves and all sorts of fun things, but it also has these great sayings. And all of our stamp sets are sold in sets. We sell them in two different kinds. So there's clear photopolymer ones, and let me get a rubber one here so I can show you, and in red rubber. So these ones are the red rubber, and they have a nice sticky label on the back of them so that they stick really well to our acrylic blocks, and they don't come off. Once they're on there, they're on there. Now these ones have a bit of a cushion in between where you attach them to the block and the rubber. And the other type we sell is called photopolymer, and that's what we're using tonight. Photopolymer is clear, so you can see through it, and it's really easy to get your stamp lined up exactly where you want it on your cardstock. Now these don't have the cushion in between, and they don't have labels on them because you can see through them. But they are very, very sticky, and they stick to the acrylic blocks really well. They don't come off of there. So when you're stamping with photopolymer stamps, it's advisable to have some kind of a cushion between you and your table. Excuse me. So you can get just a little piece of fun foam, or we sell these piercing mats, and they're a nice dense foam, and they provide really good cushion between your stamp and the table. If you don't have that cushion, you're not going to get a very good stamped image. So my thought tonight is that I'm going to put a sentiment here like that. And then we have these little tiny leaves and the acorn that we're going to use. And this stamp set has coordinating punches that will punch out your image. So there's the image that it stamps, and there's the punch. And I'll show you how they line up really well. You don't have to have the punches, but if you want to add a bit of dimension to your card, then you can use the punch to punch it out and put a dimensional underneath it. And these are foam dots. Okay, so enough talking. I also have a piece of Whisper White that's 5 1/4 by 4 to put on the inside because I like to finish my cards off, and my envelope as well. And I have a scrap piece of Whisper White so we can do some stamping and punching. So let's get things going here. I'm going to use Stamp and Seal. It's the Stampin' Up! Tape runner. And you just put it on your paper and pull it towards you. Nice and gently. You don't have to push hard, just a nice gentle pull. And it puts adhesive on there. I like this adhesive because it's a bit forgiving. So if you put it down and you don't push too hard, you can usually get it back up again. So I'm just going to... I'm holding it up on this side with my hand so that it doesn't stick down, and I'm putting it on here and having an equal frame all the way around, and then I just hold on to the very edge and place it down to make sure that it's straight. There we are. Now this is going to go right on to our card base, our Bumblebee card base. Now, the thing that got me into Stampin' Up! Products is how they coordinate with each other. So the inks, the color in the designer paper matches exactly with the color in the cardstock and matches exactly with our inks and stuff. So it's really easy to get a nicely coordinated card and not spend a long time looking for colors that are going to match. Okay, now I'm going to take the copper. Let's put that over to the side. I'm going to take the copper and get some adhesive on that as well. Just a couple of swipes of the Stamp and Seal. Oops. Got it on my paper. And see how easy it wipes right up, and because otherwise I would be getting things caught in that all night long. So I'm just lining this edge up. Let me just go up here a bit. Lining up the edge with that edge and making each of the borders equal. Hold it down gently and then do the rest of it. Now I do have in-person and virtual classes. I have barriers in my studio. My family calls them our voting booth, so that you are completely enclosed when you come to stamp. And of course everything is sanitized in between people as well. Okay, so I'm just going to put this in the middle-ish, so I can use my grid paper to line this up in the middle. So it's got grid lines on it, And if I kind of put it along one of the lines and then use that as kind of a guide to where I want to put it, then when I come down to this end, then I can kind of line it up. And it doesn't matter if your paper's cut crooked or what happens. Okay, I got it a little bit off, but that doesn't matter. There's a little bit of glue on there, but we're fine. So in-person or virtual classes, and I do a class that I call Stamping 101, and that's for beginners. I'm just getting my inks out because I forgot to do that. So I'm going to use Early Espresso, which is that color there, and Bumblebee and Pumpkin Pie, because those are the other colors that I'm bringing into, that we've brought into the card with the designer paper. So let's use the Early Espresso, which is the darkest color. And when you're inking your stamp, you hold it gently with 2 fingers, with your Peter pointer finger in the middle, just to stabilize it, and go tap, tap, tap. And that's all the ink you need. And because this is clear, I just have to go line it up, stamp it straight down, hold on to it, and gently rub your finger over the top. And there you go. Perfect. Sometimes it doesn't turn out quite so perfect when I'm doing my Facebook Lives. Okay. So I also have Cajun Craze, which is kind of it's a burnt orangey kind of color. And before I stamp on that, I want to use my extra piece and do some testing to see what color we can do our things in. So I need a brown for the acorn, and I'm going to bring out my cinnamon cider. There's lots of colors, and sometimes when I'm creating, I don't know what colors I'm going to use. I'm just going to stamp one in cinnamon cider, and I'm going to take the maple leaf, and we'll stamp it in Cajun Craze, just right on there. And let's do some bumblebee. Let's do a bumblebee oak leaf. Just so I can see what colors I'm going to have. And then we'll just punch them out. So to use the punches, you use it upside down. Hold it in your non-dominant hand. Hold the punch in your dominant hand and line it up. And the longer you take to line it up, the better your image is. So I've got it centered in there with a nice even border all the way around, and you just punch it out. Gently push the punch together. You'd want to make sure you don't have your hands in there, because that's painful and blood blisters happen really easily. So I'm just taking my time again, and then punch. And finally the oak. I was going to say the oak nut. Nope, the hazelnut. So I was walking in the Greenwood Cemetery the other day, and they have an oak tree over there by the War Memorial, the Field of Honor, and all the acorns are falling off. It's really cool. So then you just put these on like this, whichever way you are wanting to see them. And now I can leave keep these the way they are, or you can, if you don't want to get the punches, then you can just stamp right on the paper. But I think I'm going to use them like that. I kind of like that color as well. I'll show you what it looks like on the card itself. So there's what I'm going to do with it. And I'm thinking we might have to do some sponging. When I do this, I never know what the card is going to look like by the time the night is over. Okay, what color shall we use for sponging? Maybe some pumpkin pie. Then of course if you don't like it, then you just get another piece of cardstock and start all over again. So I have a piece of a sponge, just dabbing it on the ink pad. Hold your paper firmly and just go like this along the edge. Now if you go straight up and down, you don't get much of color around it. So the further this way you go, I'll show you on the back. The further this way you go, the more color you get in there. So it all depends on how much color you want showing. And I'm just going to give this a quick sponge all the way around. Now this ink is quick drying, so you don't have to wait too long for it. To dry before you start to use it. There we are. Now I'm going to put my sponge out of the way so I don't get it all over the place. So that just adds another element to your card when you put the sponging around there like that. Now I could put this down flat. If I put it down, put adhesive all the way around, it's going to be flat like this, which means there's a hump in the middle because it's you've got 2 layers of cardstock underneath that part. So if I was to make it flat, I would only put the adhesive in the middle so that the top and the bottom are free floating and don't make that unnatural hump. But I'm going to use dimensionals. Let me figure out first before I start putting them on which is the top and which is the bottom, because I only want to put dimensionals on the top and the bottom, not the sides and not in the middle. Then it's going to sit naturally over top of that center hump there, like that. So now, when I get them on there, so they're sticky on both sides. They're on the sheet, and when you pull them off, they have sticky on the back side. So then you just put them on your cardstock, and then once you have them where you want, then you just use your fingernail, or if you have gel nails or something. Carol, me too. I love sponging. I do it quite a bit on my Facebook Lives. Okay, but if you have fingernails that aren't conducive to taking these things off, you can use this is called a paper piercer or pokey tool, and you just get the liners off this way, and then they're ready to go in the garbage. Okay, so now got those all off, and we'll just, maybe I'll just put it in the middle. There. Now these are going to go on here too. Kind of like that, I think. I like those, the 3 on there. Okay, now before I do that, because I want to pop them up, I'm going to take my Wink of Stella. Now Wink of Stella is a clear gel brush, and you just go over top. Now I'm dabbing because the inks are water-based, and so is the brush, and it will reactivate your ink, and you'll have your acorn or whatever you're doing will be colored. So if you just dab instead of pulling the color, then you get the color where you want, and then in between each color just clean it off a bit. And this just adds, see how it's reactivating that ink? So now I'm getting a Cajun Craze colored leaf, which is cool because it's not stark white like it was before. I'm really liking that. Like I said, I never know where these cards are going to go when I start doing this. Okay, now we'll do the bumblebee one. The same way. Some inks really reactivate. The darker ones especially are really, they're not bad. They're really good at reactivating and coloring themselves, coloring the image in, and then sometimes you don't know what color you're getting. We have a color called Blackberry Bliss, and when you do this, you get the loveliest shade of pink. Okay, so now they're blingy. I don't know whether you can see it on the camera or not. The lighting is a little difficult to see. Let's see if I can get my light a little bit closer on it. See how they're blingy? Now we're going to put dimensionals. And when I put my dimensionals on, I like to put more than one, because then if you put one on and you put it on your card, it can tip. But if you put two, it has a firmer base. And if you use the pieces around the edge of your dimensionals, then you can just put them in here like this. Okay, that one's a little long. I'm just going to cut that a bit, put part of it there, and part of it here. So I hope you're enjoying the virtual vendor fair. It's been a lot of fun doing it, and I'm happy that Carol is encouraging us to go live, because this is what I love to do. I go live 3 or 4 times a week. Okay, there we are. So now I've got my pieces on there. And let's just put them back on here because I can't remember exactly where. And see, they got a little bit of lift to them now. Oh. And that one's going to go there. Okay, so we're going to take the rest of the liners off. Oh, there's fireworks happening in our neighborhood. And I'm kind of varying where the stems are, just so that they all don't look the same. And we'll just pop that one right there. There. How's that? Now, I'm thinking it needs some bling. What kind of bling can I put on there? Let's see if I've got any. I do. So these are in color enamel dots. And they come in the same colors as what I have used. So we have, every year we get 5 new colors, and they stay in for 2 years. So they kind of leapfrog on each other. So where did it go? The cinnamon cider I used and the bumblebee are both this year's in colors. And that's the color of the enamel dots that I have. So they match really well. So I'm thinking, let's see. I like the fact that they're on clear because I can stick them on here and see what ones I want to use. I'm thinking the brown. Let's use cinnamon cider. So I'm just digging down underneath them with my paper piercing tool. This is the most used tool that I have. And when you're putting these on, you want to put things on in 3s, which is why I put 3 images on there, because it's more pleasing to the eye in 3s. So I gently put them down until I know exactly where I want them. So I'm going to put one I think one right there. And one more. I'm gonna put, you don't want to put them in a straight line, you kind of want to offset them a bit. Yeah, that one needs to go right there. There. So then I just pick it up and I have a look at it and see what I think. And I like them. So now I push them down so that they're well attached. They're all self-adhesive. So there's the front of the card. Stamps, ink, and paper. And I add a bit of sponging and the coordinating punches with the same stamp. Now we have to do the inside because I never send out a card without having a coordinated inside and envelope. Especially when you have a colored card like this, you don't want to just write on there. You want to have a piece of white or vanilla on the inside to make it easier. And it's just boring if you put it in there by itself. So I'm going to add some of the leaves. So we're going to, first of all, I'm going to get Cajun Craze, bring it back in here. And the maple leaf, when I find it. And I'm just going to run a strip of stamped images all the way up. But I'm going to get, I keep dirty paper underneath so that when I want to stamp part on and part off, I don't get it all over my nice clean grid paper, because you don't want to have everything on solid the whole time. So that was Cajun Craze, and then we used Bumblebee for the oak leaf, and we'll just add a couple of oak leaves in there, kind of, some of them half on and some of them half off. Maybe just a tiny bit of one up there. And the last thing we'll add is bring back in the cinnamon cider and the acorn. There we are. So there's no rhyme or reason. I should have been doing the envelope at the same time. Oh well. Guess we'll be going back to the Cajun Craze. And you can go ahead and use your Wink of Stella again and add some bling to those leaves as well, just like we did on the front. So right now I have Christmas classes happening. And I'm going to be, tomorrow night, I'm going to be live again. And I will show some of the cards that we'll be making in some upcoming classes and walking you through the catalog. Just to give you an idea of what it's all about. There we go. Okay, clean that up. Get rid of my dirty paper. Get the stamp and seal back again. And get some adhesive on here so we can put it on the inside. Now, I can sponge this as well. And maybe I'll just go ahead and do that. Even though I have adhesive on it, I can still do it. I just have to hold it. All right. So I'm just going to do right around the edges like we did on the front. There we are. So when I do my virtual class, my classes, as I said, they can be in person, but you can also do it virtually, which means that you get the kit with all the die cutting and embossing and everything done. The only thing that I can't do is the stamping of the images due to Stampin' Up! Regulations. So if you were to buy this bundle, for example, the beautiful autumn bundle of the stamp set and the 3 punches, then you would, if I had a class that you bought the bundle at, then you would get the card kits for free. So you'd get all the paper and everything, and then it's porch pickup. You pick it up right off of my front porch. Payment is cash, check, or e-transfer. And I do a Zoom and I record it. So if you can do the Zoom with us live, that's good. And because I'm there and you can ask questions, but you don't have to, because you get a video link. And you can do the cards at your leisure. Or you can come to my studio and we can create them together. So this is our Christmas catalog. I'm just going to lift you up a bit here so that I touched a button I shouldn't have. Okay, so I just lifted you up a bit, and I want to show you the beautiful autumn bundle. Bundle, beautiful autumn is on page 46. So this is one of the autumn bundles that we have. So the stamp set is $23 and the punches are $53. But if you buy them together, you save 10%, and they're only $68.25 plus shipping and taxes. And look at all the beautiful things you can make out of it. So if you are interested in getting one of my catalogs, I'm happy to provide them for you. They're free of charge. Here's the whole autumn suite. We have designer paper that's got copper highlights in it. There's brushed metallic cardstock that I use. There's little acorn trinkets, some ribbons. So I will go over the catalogs more in depth tomorrow when I come back on my Facebook Live. And I'm just going to check my time, what time I had scheduled that. Okay, I'll be live at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock tomorrow night. I'll be live for about 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. We'll go through the catalog and I'll show you some of the upcoming classes that I have. Thanks for joining me tonight, and if you're watching this on the replay, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking time out of your day. Stampin' Smiles, and bye for now. Oh, I did forget to mention, if you need to get in touch with me, my email address and contact information is in my post each day, or you can just click on my name and send me a Facebook message. Stampin' Smiles, bye for now.